St. Louis Blues putting this one out. Craig Berube has been relieved of his coaching duties, and a new interim coach has been named. That coach, Drew Bannister, most recently with the Springfield Thunderbirds of the AHL, head coach down there for the last 3 seasons. You take a look where St. Louis is right now, just 1 point out of a playoff spot. You guys surprised by the news that we just saw?
A little bit, yeah. I know how much Craig Berube is beloved in St. Louis. Obviously, 2019, leading the Blues, coming in that season and leading him to a Stanley Cup, but also just the way that he comports himself, how he handled everything. Given that they're not completely out of it right now, I thought maybe a little, but this is a general manager who makes moves, and he obviously felt something here, and it's interesting. And knowing, when I say knowing, we reading on who's on the staff, he didn't elevate somebody from already in St. Louis, bringing somebody, we'll call it from the outside. I know it's within organizational structure, but he's got a lot of young guys. Craig Berube brought in Michael Babcock, Mike's son. He's 28, 29 years old. Mike Weber, 35, 36 years old. So you bring in somebody with more head coaching experience now for this guy who I really thought was a hell of a coach. Really did.
Yeah. He won a Stanley Cup. You got that on your resume forever. But you looked around what's happened in the Western Conference, specifically with Jay Woodcroft, Dean Evanson, and now with Craig Berube. What happened early on, I believed, with Woodcroft and with Evanson, there was a case with both those coaches that they could have stayed on board. But you saw how tightly compacted all those teams are in the Western Conference. You get on a quick winning streak, you're back into the mix. They don't want to fall too far behind, and if it's a little bit flat, make the change sooner than later. Even if you're thinking, if it's in the back of your mind and you're thinking maybe it's a possibility, let's do it now and give our team a chance to move in a different direction. Craig Berube, he did a heck of a job in St. Louis. To me, even Woodcroft, Evanson, none of them is an indictment on their coaching ability or their coaching accomplishments.
It was more of a wake-up call to the team, right?
The players, you have to take ownership. It's on you now. Now that the coaching change has been made, we saw Minnesota with a spark originally out of it. Definitely in Edmonton, it seemed to help their cause. We'll see what happens with this St. Louis. I've been in the dressing room when coaches have been fired. It's terrible as a player.
What is that like? Take us inside that room.
So when you sit there and as a player, this is a guy that's trusted us, and we're out here to pay.
Does the GM come down and tell the team?
Yeah.
What's the reaction like? Is it?
It's frustrating. We let our coach down. The guy behind the bench, you can't trade all 20 players. So you have to go first with the coach and then look at roster moves after that. But it felt like a gut punch to me. I don't know how other players feel.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I felt personally responsible.
So then the next time you come to the rink and there's a new guy there, what is it like as a player?
Ears perked, and now you're wondering about where you're going to fit into the system.
Audition time, right?
You got a chance, yes. It's an audition time.
I wonder if, because Detroit, I'm curious to hear media, whether it's, I'm assuming tomorrow, we'll hear from the Blues, with Doug Armstrong. Was it because they lost this game? Did he feel they should have won this game given the situation that Detroit was in or is in? Beg your pardon. With having injured players, suspended players out, losing at home, giving up 6 at home. I know Detroit can score. We know that. We talked about how when they win, they score 4+, 5+ goals?
4 every time. Yeah.
Every time. I didn't love some of the Blues' defense tonight, but is that it? Or was there something else going on? I got to imagine this wasn't just a knee-jerk reaction.
Can't be, right? No. Drew Bannister from the Springfield Thunderbirds, right? It felt like the Chris Knobloch situation where Edmonton that night, they lost to the Sharks, and you felt like that was going to be the night. Then they come back, they win the next game, and then the move. Yeah. Maybe the wheels were in motion behind the scenes ahead of time, and it all just kind of played up to this point tonight. But Craig Berube did have 1 year left on his deal. His deal would have expired at the end of the 24-25 season. So
he's a guy that has had success. I could absolutely see him getting hired again quickly.
Sure.
I don't know if there's
a lot of good coaches out there right now.
If there's any chance, maybe we could take a look at some of the St. Louis Blues giving up the goals at even strength.
Tonight? Or just in general?
No, the ones we saw tonight. And you could see some of the issues.
What did you see, just from an Eagle perspective
Just what I was just watching there. Not stopping in your own end, not being cognizant. You got 4 players one time caught on one side of the ice, left a point man wide open on the other side. Just blatant breakdowns. So if you're evaluating a coach in a game like this, I would say St. Louis beat themselves